Fresh off a victory last weekend at the time of recording today's full swing analysis at the Texas Valero Open, Spaun has now achieved his third victory on the PGA Tour, which of course includes his US Open title as well. Let's play him on here at full speed before we start to put his golf swing under the microscope. What we're about to cover in today's full swing analysis video of JJ is certainly going to showcase, with an iron in his hands, the best part of JJ's game without question. Last season on the PGA Tour, JJ ranked as 5th in the strokes gained approach play category, and when he won his US Open last year, he finished 1st in that category en route to winning at Oakmont. Certainly a course that will test every part of your game, and his approach play was no exception. Now, it was only a few years ago that on tour he was ranked as low as 127th in that strokes gained approach play category. So after he won his US Open, he was asked the question of, well, what have you worked on to transform your game? And he really stressed the importance of connection from his upper arms to his chest throughout his golf swing. So I've highlighted that here in the setup position, and as we zoom in, you can see even just from how he's standing to the golf ball, he's got his arms placed over on top of the pecs, and really is building in that connection from the get-go. When you watch JJ swing the golf club, he really does make it look quite simple. It's certainly a golf swing built upon connection, and a golf swing that certainly doesn't have any excessive moving parts. When we look at JJ's setup position here, something that's a little bit on the rare side when you talk about some of the great ball strikers in the game is that he doesn't have a huge amount of foot flare. That can often serve as something that will help us. It's really an investment in hip rotation. Makes life a bit easier to turn during the golf swing. You can see he's flared out his lead foot by just a couple of degrees, and that trail foot is almost dead straight. So a little bit unique when it comes to this aspect of his setup position. As we get JJ moving into his backswing, let's get him to lead arm level to the ground. As we look at him here at this position here, we can say that he's got a touch of late wrist set by this stage here. Compared to some of his peers on tour by that same point, they would have hit a point of 90 degrees with that shaft. As we continue to play JJ up to the top of his backswing, one piece in his swing that certainly stacks the cards in his favour in terms of being able to hang out amongst some of the game's very best iron players is just how centered of a turn he's made here to the top. So let's say if we drew in a couple of key reference points, if we bring him back to address once more, let's throw in a couple of key reference points here. So we can even use the gentleman in the background here behind him as a bit of a reference line here. Let's say if we draw a line down from that spectator just behind him, as we bring JJ to the top. Before that, actually, let's show you one more reference point, because this is really going to drive home the point of just how centered of a turn he does achieve. And I've got a line popped in here just running inside his lead shoulder. Now, as we bring JJ to the top, you'll see he's quite centered. There's virtually zero excessive head movements laterally off the golf ball, which is very common in the amateur game for those who do struggle with their strikes, but certainly not the case, of course, for JJ here. And you'll also notice by the time he gets to the top, he also has his upper spine touch off that reference line that we drew in here at the start that ran just inside his lead shoulder. And if you're looking to, as I say, gain a little bit more consistency in your strike, this is really a nice checkpoint to look for at that line down from the lead shoulder. Can your spine touch that by the time you get to the top? Or are you experiencing a little bit of a gap from your spine to that line because your spine is staying in too much forward flexion over in this direction here for the red arrow? If so, you're going to see a big gap between your spine and that line, and you've got the hassle now and the difficulty of trying to time getting everything back across in a split second, roughly about a 200th of a second window from top of the backswing down to impact. So such a short window in time to be able to make any real compensation work. One of the other pieces in JJ's swing that allows him to create this center turn is what his knees are doing as he climbs to the top of the backswing. So the primary function of our knees are to flex and to extend. And when they perform that task in the golf swing, there is scope for a little bit of inward move as well, but not a whole bunch. And when they perform that task of extending and flexing, to be a little bit more detailed with that, it's the trail knee that's going to extend as the lead flexes. And when they perform that task, it is going to help the golfer achieve that nice center turn. Continuing with the theme of using objects behind JJ here as some key reference points, we're not going to use a spectator for this next piece, but rather the tree directly behind his lead hip. So you're going to notice as he initiates his way into the downswing, it starts with a slide rather than a rotation. That slide hides the tree very quickly, and then the rotation kicks in. As he comes through impact, you'll notice he also maintains what's called as the flying wedge. So this extension that you can see here when we zoom in his trail wrist is crucial in terms of controlling the lofts. So for producing consistent yardages with his irons, but also keeping this bent back angle at the right wrist is crucial for controlling the club's low points. As we continue to play JJ into the follow through, you're going to notice that he has a, relatively speaking, quite wide arc follow through, where the shaft of his golf club here is almost an extension perfectly of his right arm. A little bit of hinge on the way through, so it's not exactly a straight line from that right arm to the shaft, but very, very close. As we continue to play him on here from this point, we see him, as you'd expect, to finish in perfect balance at the conclusion of this iron shot. And as I mentioned from the very beginning, you can see here very clearly this is a golf swing built on synchronization, connection, and no excessive moving parts. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons. It really helps with the growth of the channel, but it also just ensures that you won't miss out on any future content coming from myself here on the channel, of which there's plenty lined up to be released very shortly. For any golfer who has stayed until the end of a lengthy video like this, which is quite detailed, orientated, and very heavy on the educational side of things when it comes to the golf swing, you strike me as someone who is serious about learning and serious about finding ways to improve their own golf. If that is the case, then you can reach out and connect with myself today, regardless of where you are in the world. My name is Seán. I'm a PGA professional and I specialize in teaching the full swing, and I help golfers worldwide through an app called Skillest that I use for my online coaching, help players reach their full potential tee to green. The online program that I run on Skillest that helps people of all ages and all skill levels reach their full potential tee to green is called the Long Game Transformation Program. The minimum commitment for this program for students looking to sign up is that of a 3-month period. Often is the case where students want to continue on long beyond this point because they've seen the value in it, their game has seen the improvements, and they want to continue to push the boundaries and see what's possible. But let's say that you only wanted to sign up for the first 3 months. Here is exactly what I can promise you will learn. You will learn the 3 fundamentals required to completely transform your long game, and that is strike, direction, and distance. The first, in strike, you need the ability to control your low points. Second of all, when we touch on direction, you need to be able to have a predictable curve and a consistent shot shape that you can rely on out on the course. And third is distance. You need to be able to know how to pump enough distance into your game to be competitive at the level of this sport that you desire to play at. This program is designed to give you as much support as you need. There's nothing pre-recorded. Everything is personalized to the individual. There's open communication channels that you can message me whenever you want. Anytime you have a question, you can message me. There's unlimited feedback on the program. And if you're ever in doubt as to whether you're doing a drill correctly or whatever the case may be, you can message me and get feedback within a turnaround time of never any more than 24 hours. If you're ready to start improving today, I will leave a link underneath the video in the description box where you can download Skillest. Alternatively, you can search for it on the App Store and get started on your improvement journey today. If you want in-person coaching with myself in Ireland, I also work with players based in Ireland online, but if you'd like in-person coaching, you can see my booking diary on my website, seanmarksgolf.com. So I look forward to seeing you, whether it's in person or remotely online, very soon.